Hello everyone, and welcome to our presentation about video games. My name is Yasser Al-Hadithi, and during the 20 minutes of this presentation, we will be talking about three main points regarding video games, which are video games in media literacy, how video games are developing, and the pros and cons of video games. The topic we chose is relevant because video games play a big part of today's society and our daily lives, whether we play video games or have a child that does or know someone that plays video games. It has some impact on our life in some type of way. Also, according to many readings in different websites like Fornly, Edge Insight, Econo Times, Gamer Create, and more, they all confirm that the video game industry is bigger than both television and music industry combined. And even today, it is continuously growing even bigger and bigger. The video games industry in general rely heavily on the different types of media and vice versa, whether it is television, newspaper, or social media. The reason why they rely on each other so much is because of the benefits mainly from advertisements and the money each different platform make. For example, new video game puts advertisements on every platform of the media, and those media platforms gain a lot of money. And the more players join and start downloading the game, the more money the video game industry gains. According to the textbook Introduction to Mass Communication by Barron, in 2019, he found that cable television giants Comcast and Cox each offer game services for their broadband customers. Both direct broadcast satellite providers also offer interactive game services. Most internet service providers offer some form of online interactive games. These facts shows how other type of media platforms gain customers by offering some kind of free video games. Another fact that supports that the video game industry relies heavily on different types of media. Social media is one of them, and the most popular type of social media platform being Facebook. In the book Introduction to Mass Communication by Barron, it states that 10 million Facebookers a day play Clash of Clans, 5 million play 8-Ball Pool, and Farm Heroes Saga, and games like Words with Friends and Trivia Crack draw 1 million daily players. A lot of media platforms keep data to track activities of users to connect it to video games. And a lot of times the advertisement of the different video games would be seen by the audience with the same demographics. For example, the people who watch ESPN will see an advertisement of Madden 2K20 or FIFA 20, while the audience who watch reality shows will see advertisements for Sims, Cooking Mama, or sometimes Elder Scrolls. Video games will not only use media platforms for their advertisements, the different source of media will be included in games so they can benefit as well, depending on how big each game is. This is called product placement. In the book Mass Communication, it states that advertisers like product placement for several reasons. First, a product used in a game is there forever. Every time the game is played, the advertiser's brand appears, and the more players view the brand, the more audience it gains and the more benefit they make. The media in most cases portrays video games as violent and has a negative impact on today's youth, and can even cause people to do very hateful actions. Last year, Fox News linked the two mass shootings in El Paso and Dayton, Ohio, to violent video games and even mentioned Call of Duty specifically as one of the big motivators. They even mentioned that each time someone plays a video game, their heart rate goes up and they think about doing hateful actions. A lot of research shows the total opposite. According to the peer-reviewed research that I read on using video game design to motivate students in 2019 by Evans, Jones, and Ackland, involvement of video games not only help the brain and make the students focus and get more things done, it also helps them in motivation where they are learning in a more interesting way. Video games and video gamers use their powers and the media to fix real world problems. Whether it is donations to hospitals or nursing homes or cancer research facilities, raising awareness against racism, Earth Day, even climate change. Every time that something happens to this country, video games industry and video gamers step in and try to help, even during every crisis the country goes through, including our current hard times facing COVID-19. There are many movements that included the video games industry and the media platforms that took a part during these hard times currently fighting COVID-19. Play a Part Together is one of them, and it is a global gaming campaign to promote the World Health Organization's and safety messages surrounding COVID-19. More than 60 gaming and media platform companies, including Facebook Gaming, TV channels, and different newspapers who wrote about this event. All these companies have contributed and signed up to bring special events, exclusive activities, and rewards and inspirations to help people stay at home and stay safe.
Hi, my name is Cameron Crozier, and I'll be presenting how video games are developing. In the book Mass Communications by Stanley J. Buran, Buran describes all forms of new ways video games have and continue to develop within our society. In Chapter 9, called Rapid Fire Development, Buran describes newly formed technology like LED screens and first-person perspective games, even going all the way as to describing advanced gameplay of virtual reality. For my reference source, I chose an article from Mashable.com, written by author Kellen Beck. In this article, Beck stands by the argument that video game development has changed and will continue to change at a significant rate. Beck helps the theory that video games have developed by saying that a decade ago, video games could have been made by a couple of people or even one person. Nowadays, video games are being built by a group or a team. So what? What is all this hype about these newly advanced video games? Well, to start, over a billion of people worldwide play video games daily. Video games have gotten so advanced that people get paid millions and millions of dollars to sit on a video game and record themselves playing. Video games have gotten so worldwide that if you are one of the top video game players, you can get brand deals from companies like Red Bull or even Nike. Newly advanced video games can make you a ton of money and make you a public figure worldwide. In Stanley J. Buran's Chapter 9 Rapid Fire Developments, Buran explains about the open structure gameplays. Nintendo's Legend of Zelda was introduced in 1986 in Japan. This pioneered open structure gameplay and is now standard in modern gameplay. This game was based on an elf-like boy set out to find 8 fragments of wisdom in order to save Princess Zelda. This Legend of Zelda was so far advanced that over 6.5 million of copies have been sold. In Chapter 9, Baron makes sure he includes the creation behind LED screens and LCD screens, since that's what 99% of all video games are played on today. Baron explains how Mattel Toys brought true electronic games to handheld devices in 1977. Games like Missile Attack, Auto Race, and Football were played on calculator-sized LED screens. LANs, are also known as local area networks, were just an idea in 1993, but in the games Doom and Myst, LANs were first hinted for a development soon to come. These games allowed gameplay over LANs of computers. Games like Doom and Myst were the first big computer games, and they were released in Japan and allowed many people in a single building to play together over several computer networks. First-person perspective games were the next big thing introduced in 1973. People got to play a video game in the eyes of their characters and not see them as a 3D character. Games like Call of Duty and Halo have made first-person games and taken them to a whole new level with the amazing new advanced technology. With this new advanced technology, first-person games not only look like you are the character, but make it look like you are actually in the game. What are video games? This question is a very highly asked question. Video games can be all types of different things. A video game is something that can be played for a form of entertainment. A video game can also be played on different types of video game systems. A game like Mario can not only be played on something like the Nintendo, but on a system like the computer, an Xbox, or even a PS4. In Chapter 9 of the Mass Communication book, Stanley J. Braun describes in depth what a MUD or multi-user dimension really is. A MUD is a non-moving object that we cannot see when playing a video game. MUDs are used for the design of a game that puts all the technology behind the scenes together. A MUD is something that creates a game. MUDs are something that many people don't really know about, but without a MUD, people wouldn't be able to play video games. Online games are the biggest and most successful games that are out right now. Online games are games that you and all your friends can get on a game system and play together. Whether you're playing a game like Call of Duty and working together, or playing a game like Madden and playing against each other, online games create that bond without having to actually see one another. Online games have billions of people talking to a new person daily. These games allow someone from a place like Spain to play and talk to someone all the way in North America. Who is playing these video games, and what do you know about the 190 million regular American video game players? For one thing, they are not necessarily teenage boys gaming away in their parents' basements. The average game player is 35, and 44% of all American players are over 36. Women 18 or older represent a greater proportion of the gaming population than boys that are 18 or younger. All different types of people play video games, not just your average teenage boy. Virtual reality gaming is the newest and most popular gaming. Virtual reality games are used by a headset that covers your eyes, generating realistic images, sounds, and other sensations that replicate actual or imaginary environments. The most popular virtual reality gaming is produced by Sony on the PS4. Sony released the virtual reality gaming in 2016 and has continued to grow ever since.
Hi everyone, my name is Eric Gates. At this point in our presentation, we'd like to talk to you a little bit about some of the pros and cons of video games. At this point in history, video games have taken on an entirely different purpose than what they had since their initial inception. They are now used for much more than just entertainment purposes. They're also used for psychological and physical therapies and many other things, and they also have much more of a purpose. So here we go. So starting off with the pros, many new video games, being three-dimensional environments and such, are found to improve hand-eye coordination significantly, and they also are found to improve your quick decision-making skills. When you're moving through a game and you're up against multiple players and stuff like that, you have to pay attention to what's around you actively, much like when you're driving a car and things like this. So it helps improve these skills quite a bit without you really even realizing it. Another pro of video gaming is that based on the type of video games that you might be playing, they actually help to lengthen attention span and to improve memory. There are many puzzle solving games and things like that, like Tetris and stuff that require you to remember quickly and make quick decisions on how to place blocks together, or just a standard like a lot of, I know Milton Bradley has released a lot of their older games and stuff like that where you're solving puzzles, or even standard like your standard Zelda games. They're like 80% action, 20% puzzle solving, where most of your game progress depends on you being able to retain and use information. Okay, continuing on with the pros. According to an online post that I had read from Concordia University, the author Rebecca Bernstein states that certain scientific studies show that there have been many positive improvement of medical conditions based on people's video game usage, and it also helps to ease the symptoms of various different forms of PTSD, anxiety, and some depression based on the types of games. Once again, people are playing like puzzle-solving games or serving as an excellent distraction for some of these people. And finally, the article that was mentioned in the previous slide also made reference to individuals showing progress in being able to perceive grayscale more clearly and accurately. This is fascinating because these are skills that would easily translate to a quality control workplace setting, because the entirety of your job is based on being able to observe differences in like shades of quality and things like this. So it's very interesting to see video games taking on a role like this. Okay, and here beginning with the cons, all the bad stuff you've ever heard about video games, right? Uh, Basically, quite a few studies have found to believe, or at least find correlation between video games and increasingly violent behavior. And honestly, considering the content of some video games, it's really not hard to believe that or see that. A lot of them lack empathy, and basically, video games in a lot of ways are outlets for people to live out fantasies that are otherwise illegal or disturbing to the whole of society. Probably the most obvious negative effect of video games that I've made a slide for here is the lack of health awareness and hygienics that go along with it. Many people cast aside the need to exercise and to maintain their physicality in place of video games, and it's probably one of the most horrible things that they could do to themselves. Inactivity has been likened to the next generation cigarette smoking. So that's something that they should definitely be paying attention to. It's also closely related to the huge wave of diabetes that have come over this generation. And finally, the last con slide that I have for the presentation is that video games have also been shown in a lot of studies to cause depression and in anxiety in some cases. And a lot of this has to do with the type and style of video games that people play and the length of time that they play them. When you're doing anything for 12 to 16 hours a day, you're not paying attention to how much you're socializing with other people. I mean, even the lack of sunshine can affect you. So it's something that definitely needs to have awareness drawn to it in some level. In conclusion, this is the end of our presentation. As with all great things, the presentation is coming to an end. I hope you enjoyed what we put together for you today, and hopefully it was informative as well as that it was entertaining. Thank you very much.